All right. Here we go. Episode 8, the Stress-Rest Continuum. At least that's what I'm calling it right now. Actual name to be determined. It's not much better than the Stress-Rest Continuum. It pretty much summarizes the whole thing. We could turn this into an acronym of SRC, which sounds kind of cool. So, goal of this episode is understand stress better. Become better able to identify our current state. Whoa. Give potential indicators of being overstressed. And lastly, it is not to use the word inimical. It is to use the word cognizant. Ooh, cognizant in a sentence today, which it's already built in there. So most of this is planned out. It's pretty much all planned out. Exactly what I'm going to say is not planned out. I have bullet points and it kind of triggers me. Get triggered. Woo! Make me sweat. All right, outline of topics. We've got updates. We've got questions from the audience. Then we're going to jump into the stress-rest continuum. We're going to talk about physiological responses. We're going to make 3 main points about what we discovered. We'll talk about we'll cover some signs of chronic stress as well. And then we'll have final thoughts. So once again, updates, questions from the audience, stress-rest continuum, physiological responses, 3 main points, signs of chronic stress, and final thoughts. That is the outline for today. Hope you're doing well out there. Updates. We're rolling with this Lions thing. What if one of these, I'm like, the Lions won the Super Bowl. What if that's one of the updates, huh? Wouldn't that be something? Lions took care of the Jaguars, 52-6 or something crazy, which is unusual. If you don't follow football or you loosely follow football, blowouts like that in the NFL, they just don't happen, right? The teams are so evenly matched that the disparity between a good team and a bad team, it seems obvious by their records, but the margins it's just not that much. So to see and they did it twice this year. Anyways, it's crazy. Weather, clouds, 30s to 50s, a lot of clouds. We got rain today, cold rain today. It was nice and it was kind of warm yesterday. Also, got a new social media plan. I don't know if you remember, but a couple episodes ago, I was like, it's not too organized. I brought a guy on and we kind of let him start running with it, but I just wanted more organization around it. So we paused that for a couple weeks. I got a good friend of mine. She's been doing internet marketing for 10 to 15 years as a freelancer. Named Cheryl Heppert, if you want to look her up. And she gave me some time. We talked for an hour or so. We just put a better plan together. She gave me some good insights and some things to do. So we started that plan this week, at least starting to get it rolling. Anyways, it should be me and the Nasmus is his name, the social media account manager. We got to find our groove and get this plan implemented, but we're going to be putting some cooler stuff out for sure. So anyways, social media plan update. Subscribers, email, same. YouTube went from 41 to 43. Spotify and Apple still tied up at 17. Somebody needs to break that tie. Reminder, please submit your questions to dennis@dennisfenrich.com or reply to this email. If you're on the email subscription already, you can just reply to that and it will come to the appropriate e-box, if that's what it's called. I don't know. But we did get a question. We are getting more consistent questions, and I do appreciate it because it really helps me understand where you guys are, and I like answering questions. It's much easier for me to just answer somebody's question than it is to come up with the topic and talk about it. Now, I do both. I'm not putting one over the other, but man, it is a lot easier just to answer questions. I'll tell you that right now. I look forward to the day when I'm just doing that. That'd be fantastic. Question from the audience. We have one question today, and I will just read it and then make my statements or my response. Question: when is it bad to take... Nope, I'm not getting the glasses out for this. When is it best to take supplements, vitamins, and pills? Typically, on an empty stomach, I will take my vitamin D drop under my tongue, followed by my OM mushroom supplements, and in the morning with my creatine mixed in coffee, followed by my beef pills and beef liver pills. Prenatal after breakfast. Before bed, I take magnesium for sleep and joint pain. Is there a wrong or right time of day to take each? Well, what do I got to say to that? First off, get your exercise, nutrition, and your sleep in place before, and I'm not answering this is not to the person asking the question. This is just everybody in general. Do not get hyper-focused on your supplement timing, even your supplements, until you've got your exercise consistent, you've got a good solid nutrition plan that's covering your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, and you're getting adequate sleep, right? Those would be the order of priority if you wanted to work on something. Now, if it's super easy to change the time in which you take your supplements for you, then go ahead and do that. But exercise, nutrition, sleep are going to be 99% of what is happening to you. Then if you got that stuff in place and you want to start tweaking the timing of your supplements, then you can get into that. And, so I kind of like what this person's already doing. They are already, I would take magnesium before bed because magnesium does help calm your nervous system and it is probably going to assist in your sleep. I don't know if there's ever been a double-blind placebo-controlled study on that. Doesn't mean it doesn't work though. But I do it because this magnesium is calming. It does lower your overall tone, which I'm not sure if we're going to get into that today. It might be the next podcast, but it does lower your overall tone. Think about tone as tension throughout your body. And then what else is on here? Typically on an empty stomach. I take my vitamin D. I don't usually take vitamins on an empty stomach just because I don't know, but my belief is that you're going to absorb those better if they are with real foods. Now, that probably doesn't apply to all supplements, but I would think as a general rule, having them with food is probably going to be better. And let's see, mushrooms and creatine. And I would comment on the creatine. I think creatine is one of the best supplements you can take. There's zero negative side effects that anybody knows of. Obviously, there's always going to be some outliers, but generally speaking, any of the studies that have been done, it's very, very, very safe. It's been around since 97. I've been taking it since 97. And so I'm not dead. So there you go. It's always a good indicator that it's not too bad. But creatine, I always take my creatine after my workout. And that's how it was originally recommended. And I just haven't shifted from that. And you do get your tissues do get sensitized to carbohydrate and nutrient uptake if they haven't had them in a long time, right? If you don't eat if you haven't eaten in 2 or 3 days, well, then the nutrient uptake is going to be increased because those cells are driving and looking for that. So if you could do it first thing in the morning because you're kind of on a fast while you're sleeping. You could also take it after your workout when you've really created an energy demand from your workout. And that is when I take it. I don't take it before a workout because I don't think it helps but it could help on your brain because it's not just for your muscles, it's also for your brain and your nervous system. Anything that uses creatine, which is every cell in your body, because it's involved in ATP, and ATP is is the energy your cells are making in the mitochondria. So anyways, creatine helps with everything. And that's what I got to say about that. Thank you for the question. All right, let's get into this. Stress-Rest Continuum. First, we're going to define continuum. Continuous sequence in which adjacent elements are not perceptibly different from each other, although the extremes are quite distinct. So what does that mean? That means that if you had like a line, I got my hands up here and they're about 12 inches apart. If I got anywhere on this line of this continuum here, anything within an inch is not too different. But at the extremes, you see major differences, okay? So that is what a continuum is. So if we're thinking about the stress-rest continuum, we're talking about stress and rest and the differences in between that. Obviously, at the extremes there's major difference between being stressed out and being rest out, if that's a thing. I'll make it up if it's not. It's probably better to think about this continuum as an up and a down, because when we think about being stressed or excited, we think about being up, and we think about being calm and rested, we think about kind of being down. So you can think about it left, right, but you can also think about this continuum moving up and down, okay? So how you want to conceptualize this is that And I've covered this before once or twice in a couple of the previous podcasts. If there's a dude in the room and he's got a gun and he's not anybody that's bad. All the other bad situations, if you're standing on a 20-story roof and your toes are hanging off the edge, bad situation. Another situation that could create a stress response or as stressed as you're going to be, because that's what we're trying to understand. We're trying to understand this from the extremes. You're on the space shuttle and that sucker's about to blast off and you got, I don't even know, what is it, 100,000 pounds of foot pressure? Who knows what the number is, but there's a giant bomb under you, controlled explosion, and you're about to shoot up into space. That is going to be stressful. And so in that situation, your body is completely focused on survival. Everything it's doing is amped up through the roof as high as it can get itself, focused on not dying. Stress. The other side of that would be, hopefully you're in your bed, you're completely unconscious, which means like low energy state, and you're not aware of nothing. You're just oblivious. You lay down, and then 8 hours later, you're like, "Whoa, what just happened?" Right? You're literally unconscious for 8 hours. Okay, it's the exact opposite of that. So the continuum is the space in between there, and people are on that continuum all the time, and they're moving up that continuum usually for no reason. But anyways, we'll get into the details more. So that's how you want to conceptualize the stress-rest continuum. Where are you on that at any given time? So you got fight or flight. Was it what this used to be called? It was called, when I first got turned onto this concept, it was the fight or flight or rest and digest concept, or I don't even think they called it a continuum. It was just fight or flight or rest or digest. So fight or flight, fired up, ready to go, high energy demand. Rest and digest. I don't know if it's rest or no, it's rest and or fight or flight. Anyways, calm, energy efficient, recovery and rebuild. Okay, so fight or flight, fired up, ready to go, high energy demand, rest and digest, calm, energy efficient, recover and rebuild. And here's what's wild. You just imagining those things just affected your physiology. That's pretty wild. We got a wild button? No, we don't. We don't have anything. We could applaud that. Yeah. Yeah, knowing that's awesome. All right. Fight or flight, rest or digest. So that's the stress-rest continuum, guys. Bam. Don't ever forget it. This is one of the most important things you got to understand about your body. It really is, because this is a global thing that is happening all the time. And maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but when your physiology is elevated and excited, every cell in your body is on the program, okay? And when you're calm, every cell on your body is on the program, right? There's this no in between, right? We're all in this together, or we're all chilling together. But regardless of that continuum, we're always on it. When you understand that, it's going to help you, and this podcast is hopefully going to help you start to become more aware of when and where you are on that continuum, which is the main goal, because awareness and understanding is how you're going to really start to learn how to take care of your body. Okay, so let's talk about some physiological responses. Now, I pulled this from the Google AI. I love the Google AI. I think it's great. So what does Google AI say? The Google AI says, when your body experiences a stressful situation, it activates the fight or flight response, which is a series of physiological changes that help you either fight or flee. They used to also say freeze. I don't really see that anymore, because some people do freeze up, man. Man, if you're so scared you freeze up, whew, something going on. That ain't fun. All right, so what do we got? We got hormones. The adrenal medulla. No, that cannot be right. I thought that was in the brain. Oh, it is brain. All right, the adrenal medulla releases adrenaline and noradrenaline, which triggers the sympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate increases to pump oxygenated blood to your muscles. Blood pressure, your blood pressure goes up, it increases. Breathing, you breathe faster to increase the amount of oxygen in your blood, among other things. Blood flow increases to your muscles and decreases to organs you don't need for immediate action. How smart is this thing? Because you got to keep in mind, if this is life or death, you don't need to be spending energy where it doesn't need to be. You need to get out of Dodge or kick some butt, but don't freeze. Maybe freezing is the answer. I don't know. I could totally go on a tangent right there. There's a great movie. If you haven't seen this movie, Hostel, not hostile. No, Hostiles. Oh, come on, man. It's got, it's not Kevin Spacey, Christian Bale in it. But anyways, it's like 1860s or something like that. It's phenomenal. There's a scene early on. If you just turn the movie on, man, Hostile. I don't know what it is. It's something like that. But it's Christian Bale, Hostile, something like that. Watch the first 15 minutes. This is an amazing scene. And she has this massive physiological response to what is going on in that situation. And it's incredibly accurate because she does something that's like, that's exactly what you would have done. I think it's one of the best scenes in movies, to be honest. Anyways, blood flow goes up. Your pupils will dilate to let in more light. Pain, you will experience less pain, if any, in that fight or flight mode. Now, I do want to point this out. We don't want to think of this as stress is bad. Stress is not bad. Stress is appropriate. Okay, that's what stress is. Stress is appropriate. Okay, we don't want to think of this as bad or good. Okay. Rest. And then we talk about rest. Now, I gave a similar listing for resting, but it was literally the exact same opposite. So I'm just going to read the paragraph that I put together because it was really good. It just like described a rested, calm state. I thought it was fantastic. Signs of a calm state. A slow and steady breathing rate, relaxed muscles, lower heart rate, a sense of peacefulness, clear thinking, ability to focus, reduced tension in the body, and soft and even tone of voice, and a relaxed facial expression. Essentially, a physical and mental state where the body is not exhibiting signs of stress or agitation. Right, man? You're calm. You're chill. Now, a little bit farther down that resting continuum is going to be like out cold sleep, but this is just a calm state, you know? And you want to be able to recognize that in yourself. And some of the key points I think in here were just the overall tension in the body is down, right? Because if I'm a little bit more stressed, my tissues are going to maintain more tension because they're anticipating activity, right? And activity and movement comes through tension. So this is kind of tone as well. What's the overall tone? What's the overall tension of your body? And start to work on becoming aware of that. It's very, very important to know your body. This is why it says Knowbody Podcast. It's amazing. Okay. So those are physiological responses those are the physiological responses you would expect from a stress state or calm state, a high energy state or a low energy state. Okay. 3 main points. I probably covered each one already a little bit. 3 main points. One or the other. It's a systemic physiological response. All systems are affected, and I said that earlier. This is global. This is everything. This is your body. This isn't any specific system. None of this is working independent of anything else. Everything, every cell in your body is rising up with your stress response and coming down with your stress response. And it's critical to understand that. It's just critical to understand that it's not, because we have a tendency, especially today, like everybody wants to systematize everything and separate it, right? Like, you know, hey, I got a heart system I'm going to go see I got a cardiovascular system, so I'm going to go see a specialist for that. I got an ear, nose, and throat, so I'm going to go see a specialist for that. I've got, musculoskeletal, so I'm going to go see a specialist for that. And we have a tendency to think that this is how the body operates. That it operates in these independent systems, and one can be working absolutely fantastic and another one be failing miserably. You can get some of that with your musculoskeletal system because you can have a broken bone and your heart's pretty much fine. But something you got to understand, if you do have a broken bone, every cell in your body knows there's something going on, right? Your stress response is going to be elevated, right? Like your body knows the bone is broken. It knows. It's not knowing in a way that we think about knowing. It's a different kind of knowing, which is going to be coming up in a few episodes. Maybe not a few, maybe a few. Okay, so 3 main points. It's one or the other. Okay, we're on this continuum somewhere, and it's a whole systemic physiological response. And physiological just means like your body. Okay, become more cognizant of your current state. There it is. So 3 main points. It's a continuum. Second point, it's important to become more cognizant of your current state. Cognizant definition, to be aware of or have knowledge of something, right? So the aware and the knowledge, right? You're gaining the kind of knowledge, right? You're starting to think about and perceive these different things. And then you're going to be able to become aware and cognizant of where you are on that continuum. Super critical. That is the main point. And the third one, develop your ability to move up and down that continuum. So not only be aware, but then be able to influence and guide the appropriate physiological response or the place that you're landing on that stress-rest continuum, the SRC, so you have better control over your body, better control over your own physiology. Why? Because you got one, and it's yours. And don't you want to know how to make it run as good as it can, to the best of its ability? Yes, you do. I know you do. That's why you're listening, man. And thank God you're listening. I'm thankful for your curiosity, all right? You get a horn for that. It's an amazing thing you're riding around in. Learn how to ride it. Learn how to drive it. Learn how to get the most out of it, because that's really what we're trying to do here. Develop your ability to move up and down the continuum. How about some situational awareness with this thinking in mind now? What should my physiology, my mindset be when I'm at the gym, right? I should probably be a little bit higher stress response. I should be a little bit more excited. I should be a little bit more aware. I should be a little bit more happy. I should be a little bit more anticipatory of the activities that I'm going to do. That way, I'll be able to get more and do better with the activities that I'm going to be able to do, right? I'm going to get my physiology ready to exercise. And I'm going to do that through some sort of cognizant, I'm going to do that becoming cognizant and then moving my physiology. We're going to talk more about how to specifically move it. Well, the most efficient way, there's 2 ways to do it. You can do it with your breathing and you do it with your mind and your mindset. But we're not going to get into the details of that. That's coming in a future podcast. But just by knowing, you can start to do that. You could be driving in the car, going to the gym and going, I got to go to the gym today, and go, whoa, I'm going to the gym. I don't want to be like this at the gym. Let me turn this thing around. I'm going to the gym. This is great. I need to go take care of my fitness. I need to get excited. Bam, 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 bam. And all of a sudden you're raising up your physiology and you're changing your state, and you're going to have a better, more appropriate experience while you're at the gym. What are some other situational awareness? What about when you're at work? How should you be at work? You should probably be a little bit high energy at work. You should probably think about being productive. You should probably think about doing a good job. You should have your energy levels up when you're at work. What's the alternative? To have them down and not be productive? And, you got to find a balance between being calm too, right? But you should be. Your situational awareness at work is, hey, I'm at work. I'm here to be productive. Let me get my energy up. What about out in public? Out in public, you should be calm but alert. You should pay attention to your surroundings. And you should be calm and think about connecting with people and observing what's going on. One of the things about being in a high stress state is your attention is going to be more focused. And in a calmer state, your attention is going to be more diffused. Now, that does not mean not paying attention. It's taking in more in a more diffused state. It's a balanced attention as to what's going on around you. And when you're calm, you'll be able to do a better job of that. And then the last one to kind of think about, what about when you're at home? What should your physiological state be when you're at home? How should your body be when you're at home? And I think we all know that it should be calm, right? We want to have a calm state of being, calm home to come, a home that's calm to come home to, how about a house that's calm to come home to? And be able to get relaxed, be able to let the tension out, right? Because if we're always in it, and we're going to talk about some symptoms of being overstressed. If I'm always in a high stressed, high energy state, well, I'm not getting into that adaptive and recovery state, right? Because calm, rest and digest, I probably should have spent more time talking about that, but rest and digest, calm state is where your recovery is going to come in, right? Because when you're high energy, you're burning energy and you're not recovering energy. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, so calming down is when the adaptation to the stress you just incurred starts to happen. Okay. All right. Signs of chronic stress. this is back to the Google AI, okay? And we love the Google AI. I think it's fantastic. I gotta get some more buttons. I need some more button options. I got one over here. I haven't hit it yet. Let's see. There it is. You know, what in the is going on out nut? But I got to hit 2 buttons to get to that one. And I don't swear much, at least on camera and audio. Okay, signs of chronic stress. This is for information purposes only. This is from the Google AI and from me. This is for information purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, please consult your professionals. Okay, physical symptoms of being chronically stressed. And this is good now, right? Because we talked about chronic versus acute already. So now you can kind of understand, stress is fine. Stress is good. Stress is how your body gets stronger. Stress is how your mindset gets stronger. Stress is how you get stronger. But then you need to be able to get out of the stress state and start to rebuild and recover, okay? And if you're in a chronically elevated stress state, is everything still working? Dear Lord. The camera, if you watch the last episode, that camera died out. Didn't tell me either. I had no idea. Anyways, physical symptoms, right? You don't want to be in a chronically stressed state because, again, acute stress is good. Okay, you need it to adapt and get stronger. But chronic stress starts to break you down, okay? So what are some physical symptoms that I've been in an elevated stress state for too long? And too long is going to be relative. And also, you can go into these for, you think about people who went to, go off and fight in a war. They'll go out for 6-12 months being about the highest stress state you can possibly imagine, and then still be able to come back if they're in a good environment and recover and be totally fine. So don't be so afraid of chronic stress, but you need to recognize when, all right, you know what? I need to dial it back a little bit. And my life's been pretty stressful. I've not gone easy on myself. So I've learned to recognize, I need a breather, and I'll take some downtime for 2 or 3 days. I'll kind of do the minimums, let my mindset, let my body recover, and then I'm good to go and get back after it. I just like doing stuff. I like being productive. Anyways, signs of chronic stress. Here we go. Google AI. Physical symptoms: aches and pains, headaches, dizziness, muscle tension, chest pain, high blood pressure, stomach problems, and an elevated resting heart rate. So if you're wearing an Aura or the Whoop, you can kind of monitor your resting heart rate and see. I did this one time in a training cycle. Went back when I did some hard CrossFit stuff. And over this 2 or 3 month period, my resting heart rate was slowly increasing as I was getting built up and trained into this training for this competition. And then when I did the competition and when I was done with the competition, it came down slowly over time. So it was interesting to see that happen. And what's happening is one of the reasons your resting heart rate is going up as you start to incur more and more stress is because you're still trying to adapt and recover from that stress. And so you're having to move more stuff around your body for that adaptation. So the heart rate's having to work harder and harder. Anyways, hopefully that made sense. Some emotional symptoms of being chronically stressed: anxiety, irritability, depression, panic attacks. If you're having a panic attack, you're about as stressed as you're going to get. Sadness and feelings of dread. Behavioral symptoms: excessive worrying, snapping at people, biting your nails, picking at your skin, grinding your teeth. I used to grind my teeth. And changes in social behavior, sleep issues, insomnia, sleeplessness, or sleeping too much, right? That seems kind of counterintuitive, but maybe you're overstressed and you're slightly depressed. And you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. So you're just spending a lot of time in bed. That could explain that. Gastrointestinal issues, abdominal pain, diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, and nausea. So anybody can experience this if they're in a high training state, but you'll see it more frequently in marathon runners because they're just putting out so much work and they're having some real intestinal problems. One of the things due to the intestinal wall is just not, there's just too much going out and your body's ability to keep up is not there, right? You can try to get into the specifics and mechanistically what's happening. It's the glutamine levels of the intestinal lining, and probably, that's attributed. But the way to really understand it is there's just too much going out, not enough downtime and stuff coming in, and things are starting to break down. That's all it is. don't have to understand mechanistically exactly what's happening if you have a global understanding of how the body works, which is what we're trying to convey. How's your body work? Not on a systems level, but on a global level, in its entirety, how does it work? So that's why you can start to experience gastrointestinal issues. You're experiencing emotional symptoms because your brain is tired and your neurotransmitter levels are just jacked, right? They're just getting worn out. Everything takes something, everything has a cost to it. And other symptoms, these are just general racing thoughts, loss of sense of humor, neglect or loneliness, and vivid or bad dreams. Okay. If you have 3 to 5 of these, this is all the AI, by the way. And again, this is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult your professional. If you have 3 to 5 of these symptoms for more than several weeks, you might be suffering from chronic stress. Chill out. Yeah. If you experience a handful of those things, chill out. Take a couple of days. You don't necessarily have to run from your world. You don't have to take a 2-week vacation. It'd probably be wiser. That could have a ton of value if it gave you the new perspective. It gave you a contrast to what you were doing, right? Because we can get caught up in the things that we're doing and we just get used to it. So maybe you take a week vacation, you get this contrast, you're like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. That's happened to me a handful of times. But also, you don't want to run from your situation if that's how you're kind of viewing it. If you can build it into your day, we're going to talk about this, build it into your day, but if you can build it into your week, if you can just start to recognize, hey, I can work hard for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, and I need to maybe take 3 or 4 days of just kind of chilling. But if you can build it into your life, that's going to be fantastic. Okay. I need a drink of water. Please hold. All right, I'm back. Crickets are quite peaceful. I need some birds singing or something on here. Maybe not. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Final thoughts. Some people are overstimulated and need to chill, and some people are understimulated and need to kick it up. Okay, we're not all overstressed. Some of us are understressed. We're understimulated. We're not excited about anything. We're not getting our energy levels up, right? We're just always in this low energy state, okay? I don't want to turn it into a negative because it's more about observing where you are and who you are and making the adjustments that you need to make. But there's something to think about. I'll say it again. Some people are overstimulated and need to chill. Some people are understimulated and need to kick it up. Now, don't look out into the world and start identifying who's who. Identify yourself and do what you need to do. Because anytime you start pointing the fingers, there's 3 of them pointing right back at you. Always keep that in mind. It is a waste of time to look out into the world and start finding fault with other people. It literally is a waste of time. That's none of your business. Your business is to look inward and say, what do I need to do? Don't be looking at the splinter in your neighbor's eye when you got a beam in your eye, right? I've heard that somewhere, something similar. Anyways, when you point fingers, there's 3 pointing right back at you. Keep it on you. Practice recognizing your position on the stress-rest continuum, the SRC, and practice moving it in the appropriate direction. We said that already. I think hopefully this podcast shines some light, brings some clarity in this dimension, in this realm here, and you can start practicing and working on doing that. It takes a lot, it takes time, but man, is it worth it. Going to give you a really good tool. In the next podcast, we're going to talk about it, how to start to do that. The best place to start, okay? Practice recognizing your position on the stress-rest continuum and practice moving it in the right direction, in the appropriate direction. Not right, appropriate. Last thought here. Now you can move clearly. Now you can more clearly begin to understand the importance of building a daily healthy pattern of move, train, eat, relax. I hope that this stuff is starting to tie together. That the reason that pattern, when you build it into your life of moving, training, eating, and relaxing, and running that pattern, every day if you can, 4 or 5 days a week at least, right? It's designed in a way that your energy's going up where it's appropriate, and then at the end of the day, it's coming back down, so then you can get into a good deep sleep cycle, get recovered, and then do it again. This is the reason why you want to build that pattern, and it is super critical that when you go home in the evening that you have a good, you got to do what you can do, right? You got to do what you can do. So if you can put 2-3 hours towards the end of the day where you're not doing tasks and getting things done, but you're sitting and you're connecting with people, or you're reading a book and you're calming yourself down, okay? This is going to be a huge contributor to your fitness, your health, and your longevity throughout your life. Don't change your life, because people want to change their life. They want to change everything right now. What right now? Don't change your life, change your day. Start to make small changes to your day. If you're not doing one of these 4 things, move, eat, train, relax, work on one of them. Start to improve somewhere. Pick a spot and start working on it. That's coaching. All right, guys, that's it. That is it for today. Next episode topics. So this Stress-Rest Continuum, this whole stress thing got kind of broken down into 2 podcasts, which is great. And the next one is going to be the vagus nerve, breathing, and total stress load, which has another acronym of the TSL, total stress load. So we're going to cover those 3 things in the next podcast, add a little more depth, a little more dimension, a little more understanding to being stressed and being rest, man. Super critical to know and understand. Help us grow, like and subscribe, YouTube. Who's going to win here, Spotify or Apple? I don't know. It's tied to 17. Submit your questions to dennis@dennisfenrich.com. As always. And that's it, guys. Thanks for this week's question. I do appreciate them. Appreciate you guys tuning in and giving me your attention. I hope this is helping, and questions help me understand where you are with everything. So hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you. Actually, you won't see me, and I won't see you. Actually, you'll see me, but I won't see you. You might not even see me because you might just be listening. You'll hear me. Anyways, we'll see you. Talk to you guys next week. All right, bye.